Hi, Pauline. Thank you for your financial documents for the financial year for the Acme County Housing Authority. I think that by classifying by type in terms of income and costs makes for a more straightforward and easy to read statement looking at your work, and draws attention to the organisation's financial situation more clearly with regards to costs and revenues for each type of spending and each type of revenue. I would suggest looking at these documents that the current financial position of the County Housing Authority is reasonably poor. It is evident that there is a higher level of cash flow out than in this year, and that this has resulted in a deficit in the bank account and reduced the overall equity. If this persists over a number of years, the equity is likely to be reduced significantly and the organisation may not be able to cover its longer-term debts. Liquidity is currently a risk, with cash and current assets not being able to cover current liabilities, and the organisation will have to do something to cover those short-term liabilities by either reducing costs or increasing revenue to some extent. It would have to do so quite substantially, I think, to cover the current costs. I would say that the financial health of the organisation is poor in these aspects, although fortunately the equity remains quite high due to the large housing stock available. Consideration of cost reductions could be made with regard to general head office costs, for example, which appear to be the highest cost line. It is apparent also that service costs are not covered by service charges completely, which is interesting, and this could be made to align quite readily. Reducing housing stock will also directly impact cost and revenue, as things like rental income is based on the number of renters, and so this may not be ideal in terms of covering long-term debt. The financial statements are detailed that you've done and reflect the information given very accurately. Of course, they don't show specifically why costs were higher than revenues and whether this was expected or not, which would provide more context around the long-term financial position of the organisation and risk from a strategic sense. This, of course, is not part of the assessment, but leads us to consider how the context of the financial documents are important, as well as the usefulness of other attachments, strategic plans, and explanatory documents and budgets, particularly in the public sector where public accountability is very important, and we must provide evidence as to why this organisation has developed a deficit this year. Thank you again for a very easy to read assessment, and also your reflection on calculation errors. Looking at mine, I also made one and wish I had seen it earlier. Thank you and good luck for the rest of your assessments.